Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Soccer Cards and Chill. It's been a little while. This is the second season of this show. For those of you that don't know, Soccer Cards and Chill is a podcast dedicated to the beautiful hobby of collecting cards and stickers. And it's put out by Futera. We make high-end collectible football cards for some huge football clubs, including the likes of Arsenal and PSG and Liverpool and Barcelona, lots of big clubs. And this show is for you if you are a rookie to the card space, if you're here, if you're new to collecting cards or stickers, and you're kind of looking to find out more about the hobby, or if you're a seasoned pro, if you're a bit more of a vintage type in this hobby, then it's a great way to keep up to date and abreast with what's happening in the space. On this podcast, I talk to lots of different people from within the hobby / industry that work in it professionally or just collect. And it's lots of fun. So thank you for joining us. I have with me today Greg Lansdowne, who is a freelance sports PR advisor and writer. Not only is Greg a collector, but he's also written and published books on the hobby, and is focused on stickers. So the topic of this podcast is very much going to be that synergy between stickers and cards. Greg, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, very good. You say I'm focused on stickers, and I think probably that's because of the decade that I grew up in, the 80s in the UK, because there were no cards.
There were no cards.
And there really were no cards. It was all about Panini stickers. There were in the 70s, and Topps did them. Topps did a couple at the start of the 80s, but they were nothing like their earlier ones. Basically, by that point, they knew that Panini was on the up and stickers were on the up. So, as I say, throughout the 80s, there's a few ones that were given away with sweet cigarettes and stuff like that, but other than that, it was all stickers. And it was only right at the start of the 90s with the Pro Set collections. Now, that was an eye-opener for my generation, because, as I say, we'd had nothing like that. And as a result, the first collection in particular of Pro Set was actually quite popular.
Yeah, I remember the Pro Set. Well, a little bit before my time, Greg. But I do remember it. And then we came along, didn't we, in the mid 90s, Futera, in the UK. We can talk about that a little bit more in a second. I'm right in thinking you're an Arsenal fan?
Yes. So I'm pleased you mentioned them first when you said the teams you did cards for.
Yes, of course. So we've got a Smith Rowe card here. As you can see, very, very lovely. This is a headliners release that we did recently. He's a good player, isn't he? You must be pretty happy at the moment. Then, at the time of recording this, you've just come off the back of a pretty decent win against Liverpool. As an Evertonian, I thought I'd stick that in.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, at the time of this, hopefully by the time people do watch this, that I'm still happy.
Yes, hopefully, Greg. Right. Okay. So, why do you think people love stickers so much?
Firstly, I think it's a generational thing. So as I've already touched on, if you grew up in the 80s in the UK and Europe in general, it was all about stickers. So people who grew up in the 90s as well, because Merlin was massive with their Premier League sticker albums. So it was all about stickers during those decades. So if you're a lapsed collector and you've got back into it now, then you're going to think of stickers fondly. That doesn't mean that you're now not going to be into cards, because there's a lot more cards available. I think a lot of it is down to the fact that there were no cards in the 80s, so we had no choice. If there were cards, then we would have collected them as well. In the 90s, it was a bit different, because yes, there were stickers and the Merlin albums are very popular, but there were an increasing amount of cards as well. So maybe if you grew up in the 90s, you like both. Also, I would say one of the reasons why stickers endure is because they're inclusive and they're fun. So you can collect them as a kid, you can collect them as an adult, and you've all got a common goal. It's to collect the same album with the same number of stickers. You're swapping together to get those stickers. Until this year, there were no parallels or extra stickers or one-on-ones. So you didn't have to particularly keep on to any stickers in particular. In the 80s, some people kept on to some of the badges because they knew that they were worth a lot. But when you look back at them, ultimately, that they were worth one slot in the album. People didn't collect them and put them in a penny sleeve in the 80s, even if it was a Liverpool badge. You could get a lot of doubles for it back in return if you had one to swap, but it wasn't like it was going to be worth thousands and thousands of pounds. So that's what made stickers different. Now, obviously, and we're going to get onto that later on, things have changed with this World Cup album because all of a sudden there are the rare stickers that people are holding back and that there's not even anywhere to stick, like the extra stickers and the one-of-ones that you've seen in America. So now, and that's why it's split opinion with people. So a lot of inveterate sticker collectors are not happy with the way that things are going now. And I know that Topps are going to do the same or have done the same for their Champions League album as well.
So is that a case that, do you think then they're kind of now heading too far towards like cards? Are they starting to resemble cards too much? I think, you mentioned that there's some stickers that you can't even, there's no album for you to stick them in. They're just a purely fronted as a collectible now. Is that the criticism that they're just starting to resemble cards too much?
Yeah, it's a mindset. So yes, that is the criticism of collectors who have been collecting for a long time and like it as it was, that there's all these other stickers that are not in the album now. A sticker album, you should be able to open the packets up, and every sticker in that packet, there's a slot in the album. That's not the case now. Now, I don't see that as a big problem because there is still a standard set. That take away the parallels and the extra stickers, there is still a bog standard collection that you can stick in that are all the same color. I think what people resent now is that people are opening up packets and they're more bothered about. You see on the Facebook Panini's pages now, people are putting up the extra stickers and say, how much is this worth? How much is that worth? Whereas when we used to collect the World Cup and the Euro albums and the Premier League ones, every sticker was the same. You wouldn't. All you're interested in was swappings, so you wouldn't ask how much it was worth because there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of each sticker out there. So you wouldn't ask how much it is. I think it changed with the pandemic and the rookie sticker phenomenon coming over to Europe. Now, the rookie sticker has been massive in America, North America, for years. So they would probably have been surprised that all of a sudden in Europe we've caught onto it two or 3 years ago. And the first one to me that really got the attention was the Mason Greenwood Premier League sticker for the Panini Premier League album in 2020, I think it was. And all these people from America were buying up these Mason Greenwood stickers because it was his first Manchester United sticker for £30. And you could get it as a missing sticker on Panini's website. Maybe you couldn't order in America, but so people were buying loads of them in England and selling them to Americans because they probably didn't realise how many were out there because they weren't au fait with how sticker collections work over here, and as a result, Panini had to stop selling the Mason Greenwood sticker as a missing sticker. And now you'll also see with some of the old World Cup albums and old Euros in their missing stickers sections, some of the stickers are not available because it's their rookies. So, for instance, in France '98, you wouldn't see that they won't be offering Thierry Henry as a missing sticker now. They would have done a few years ago when nobody was thinking, oh, I need to get that because it's his first World Cup sticker, and that's the case for a number of stickers now. So as I say, things have since the pandemic and Americans coming on eBay and buying up all these stickers that used to be worth £1 or £2 and paying silly money for them. Everything has changed.
Those missing stickers now that have been taken off the Panini website, what's happened to them now? Have they just all been sold, or have
no? Panini will still have them.
Yeah.
But it's just that they know that those stickers are not being bought by someone who wants to stick it in his album, or is collecting a loose collection of France '98 or Germany 2006, depending on the player, depending on the rookie. They know that they're buying that sticker and they're putting it straight on eBay. And obviously, if you get it new from Panini, it's going to be in top condition as well. Much better than people who collected it at the time in 1998 for Henri, for example, and have had it knocking about for 24 years.
Okay. So it sounds like when we talk about that kind of the synergy between both of these elements of the hobby, that actually it's trading cards having all the influence on stickers. Do you see any kind of, is there anything that's kind of worked the other way or not? Because it just seems like it's all one-way traffic here.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a lot of synergy, and actually, Panini stickers are more valuable if you look at the ones that sell online. I mean, the Diego Maradona one that went for $555,000 was a Panini sticker. So there isn't a Diego Maradona card that's gone for that much at this point. That's not to say it won't in the future. And obviously, some of the bigger players also didn't have Panini stickers or at the time. But I would imagine if you've got a Johan Cruyff Panini 74 sticker, that's probably going to be worth more than any of his cards, especially if it's in top condition, because it's Panini, because it's a World Cup sticker album, and they will always be iconic. So I would say cards and stickers dovetail together. Yes. The rookies, for example, from any given season, rookies can be cards, they can be stickers. The only real influence, or the biggest influence, has been the parallels that have just started to come up in the World Cup albums, and I say that's a massive change when it comes to football stickers, because football sticker albums were never supposed to be like that. That they were supposed to be different to the card collections, where people don't necessarily want to finish the collection. They just want to get maybe cards from their team, or cards of a particular player, or a parallel card that's going to make them a lot of money.
There's a thing on the the football card, the soccer card, the real kind of people that have been in this have been collecting cards for a long time, where they do feel slightly disgruntled about some of the things that now go on in the hobby. But on the flip side, they kind of appreciate that the boom that we went through in the 2020s had a really positive impact in terms of bringing people into the space. It sounds like it's been a similar thing for stickers to an extent. So the guys like yourself, who've collected stickers for decades, long before the hype came along that we now see now. Are you wrestling with this in your mind? Like, on one hand, there seems to be some negative elements to that, but on the other hand, it's kind of just brought more people into this, into this world of collecting stickers. Did you?
Yeah, if you look at collectors' magazines or forums from decades gone by, there are always people moaning about something. Especially in America, where there's been lots of scandals of cards being doctored, and there's lots of good books about that, and that's been going on for decades. I think some of those negative elements, sadly, have now come into the European collecting hobby, as in now people are tampering with cards and stickers that used to be worth a couple of pounds, so we didn't need to tamper with them. There was no point making them look any better than they are. So I think from my perspective, I can look at it as a positive. I've got doubles from the 80s and 90s that just kept in shoe boxes and thought nothing of it, and now I look back at them and they're worth, they might be worth £20, worth £50, some of them 100 or a couple of £100. And how is that a bad thing? If somebody wants to buy it for that, fine. It's not doing much good in my shoebox that I don't look at for 10 years. So somebody wants to pay that, and then ultimately they end up grading it and making money on top of it. Then everybody collects in different ways, and I think yes, more people are collecting clearly now with a view to making money and with a view to making a business out of it. So in the old days, it just used to be Futera and Panini and Topps and Upper Deck were the people making the money out of it, and we were getting enjoyment out of it. We were collecting. I know that was different in America, and people have been making money out of it, having shops and breaking for decades. Whereas over here, it's really only been the last couple of years where all of a sudden people are seeing it as a way, even more than a side hustle, as a way to actually that being their job. And if you said that before the pandemic, most people in Europe would have said you were mad.
Yeah, for those people that don't know, that are relatively new to the space, i.e. they came in the last 2 years, which actually probably makes you a bit of a veteran now, how quick the turnover is and how more and more people are starting to collect cards. But the world that back in late 2009, 10, 11, around that time, I worked for Futera out in Asia when I was a bit younger. And the kind of the hobby now is just a million miles from what it was then. Back then, it was just pure kind of obsessive, really bona fide collectors who mainly just collected for the love of it more than anything else. And now I'd say that actually, if I think about it in terms of percentages, there's 60-70% of people that probably are in the card space now are thinking about it from how can I make some cash on this? These are investments. It's almost like become an asset class in a way, hasn't it? And that you're right to point that out. It's just a really interesting point about how things have changed since my first kind of foray into this space. Where does your love of football cards, football stickers come from? What was like your first kind of collection that you purchased?
Well, because I'm so old. My first Panini album was Football '79. My brother was a West Ham player at the time, just starting to break into the team. And he collected as a child, not Panini. It was at FKS that he collected, and he was keen to get me into it. So he collected alongside me and clearly must have bought me so many packets because it was an album of nearly 600 stickers, and I got within one. Now for a 5-year-old, that's pretty good going, and clearly I didn't get that much pocket money, so I'm indebted to him, and from that point onwards, it wasn't just Panini. Any sticker album, any of the very few card collections that existed, I collected them all. But because I collected them all, not just Panini, I never finished any of them as a kid. So I have loads of half full, 3/4 full, sometimes even a third full albums that I've, since I got back into it, been trying to finish again. But no, during the 80s, it was massive in school playgrounds, and it was one of the main reasons for going into school, to be honest.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that that like football, a lot of us have really fond memories. Even in the 90s, for me, I can see it over here. I've got one of the Merlin albums over there, and I really love that kind of like mid 90s aesthetics in terms of like what the stickers look like. And it is a really kind of fundamental part of my childhood. Like, I remember being on the playground and a friend of mine having like a Charlton Athletic shiny and it being like the most amazing thing in the world. It's funny how these things are imprinted on your mind. You spoke earlier about some of those terms that are now being borrowed from cards now in the stickers world. So I saw an interesting tweet, and I shared this on my LinkedIn, and I know I think you saw it, about a guy's son who had the Son sticker, ironically, and he'd stuck it in the album for this World Cup, and it was a 1 of 1. So now so you find parallels within the kind of the sticker world now. Then is this just a new thing for this kind of World Cup?
Well, and tops with the Champions League sticker album this year as well. As far as I'm aware, I don't certainly nothing to this level, and nothing for the World Cup. I think what people used to do from the previous World Cup and going back, that they used to collect. There used to be different albums. It was the same. It was, but by and large, it was the same number of stickers and the same players. But there were variations. But an album in Spain might be different to an album in Germany. That would be different to one in the UK. So people would collect those. But the Spanish sticker wasn't necessarily worth more than the one in. It was just it was different. And the same with packets. So there's lots of different World Cup Panini packets of stickers that people collect. So there have always been variations in that respect. But now I think there's more of a confusion about, well, you're opening up the packet and you're thinking, so if previously, if you open up a Spanish packet in Spain, you would know that all those stickers have still got to go in that album. If you open up a packet in Germany, you'd know that's to go in that album, vice versa. Whereas now you're opening up packets of stickers, and some of the stickers you look at and thinking, well, where does that go? Hence with the Son 1 of 1. I mean, if that child is happy doing that and it fills a space in the album, then it's the right way to go. Now, obviously, he might look back in the future and think when he sees how much if South Korea have a good World Cup as well, or Son goes on to win the Ballon d'Or or whatever, then yes, of course, he's thrown away thousands of pounds, thousands of dollars. So ultimately, it will be whether he was happy doing what he's done. And he's filled a space in the album, so why not?
Why not? It did make me laugh, though. I can imagine his old.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure it didn't make a lot of people laugh as well. But as I say, yeah, maybe that's their problem.
So in that documentary that you were featured in by 442, which looked at the phenomenon of collecting cards, I think it was before the Russia World Cup, maybe.
2018,
yeah. So the one in Russia. Yeah. There was a guy on after you from Colombia, and he was talking about how big stickers were there. Do you think that stickers have a bigger appeal than cards naturally because they have a little bit of utility?
Well, yes, because they are inclusive, and a lot of places, especially in South America, they have big swap meets in squares. And I went to holiday in Portugal over the summer, and although there were no albums at the time, people were telling me about they have meet spaces on a Sunday morning where they swap all the stickers. So yeah, it brings people together. And I know in South America they also, rather than as well as selling packets, they also have stands that sell individual stickers. So rather than emailing the missing sticker service on Panini, you can actually buy individual stickers there, or you did until this one. Now, I know in Argentina this year there's been a shortage. They've been selling them in supermarkets as well as the traditional kiosks. So the kiosks are not getting as many, and as a result, there aren't as many packets to go around, and that's an altogether different scandal. But also, what you've got to think of is that most people in South America can't afford high-end cards. So a sticker album is the cheapest option. Even the stickers are not as cheap as they used to be, but it still remains the cheapest option. And also, a lot of these countries will have their team in the World Cup. So, of course, it stands to reason that in Brazil, in Argentina, in Colombia, that the World Cup sticker album is going to be a focal point because they want to collect their players, and it makes them feel part of the World Cup in the build-up.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I just found that interesting because I don't know, the mass appeal of. I feel like cards have quite a big appeal in the Anglosphere countries, in Asia certainly, but not so much South America. I could be wrong on that. That might just be because it's not a market that we focus on here at Futera. But yeah, I think there is something to that the element of, I can actually stick this down in a sticker album and then kind of like have them all and see if I can fill the album. There is something to that. So we've spoken about some of the terms that are borrowed, and we've spoken about kind of how you got into this space. Do you think, by the way, that in a way stickers are the perfect gateway drug to collecting, because they seem to appeal to a younger audience, maybe a little bit better than cards did historically? That might have changed with Pokemon since the 90s. But yeah, do you think there's kind of something in that stickers are that perfect gateway drug to collecting, a life of collecting?
Well, I think certainly parents will see that, because they will go to a supermarket and they will look at what's the cheapest option. So if you've got a packet of Panini stickers, even they are not as cheap as they used to be. But
No.
if you've got a packet of Panini stickers for 90p or a packet of cards for £2 or £3, as a parent, you can buy 3 or 4 packets of stickers, or you can buy one packet of cards potentially. So just from a frugal and a fiscal point of view, it just makes sense. As you get older and you've got your own money, then obviously you can make your own choices. So I think that is key. But I would also say these days that because they're 90p a packet, which is not that cheap, I think stickers and cards really go hand in hand for people. If they're looking for particular players, you will want their stickers and you will want their cards, and now, especially with all the parallels, then they definitely go hand in hand now, because there's a scarcity value to stickers now as well. So a completely different audience. In fact, a lot of people who previously would have been turned off, especially in North America, there is no tradition of stickers in America. This World Cup album will undoubtedly be the most successful Panini World Cup album ever in North America. And the reason for that is because of the one-on-one stickers and the parallel stickers, because they now have something potentially they can. It makes it interesting for box breakers. Whereas, who would I think the only time you see people box breaking Panini stickers will be if they got an advance box. So people hadn't seen the stickers. That made it interesting. But once everyone got the stickers, I can open packets and see those stickers. But now they can open packets of stickers and they could potentially put a one-on-one or all these parallels, and it's interesting to watch even 2 months after they've come out.
Yeah, I think that point about the United States now becoming, because they don't really have that cultural history of collecting stickers like we do. They are more focused on cards. They have been historically, but now you think that will switch after this World Cup, and then
they'll always mainly be interested in cards. But it's just that there was next to no interest, and now because of this, that's a game changer as far as stickers are concerned.
Agreed. And now you think that will only be more pronounced moving forward because we've got the World Cup coming up in the United States.
Oh, it'd be absolutely, but there will be something for everyone. I'm sure they're already working on it. Whoever gets that album on the license, I'm sure they're thinking about it already.
Yeah.
Or if they haven't got the license, they're thinking about what they do if they do get it.
Of course. And like, what's your prized sticker / album? Mine, by the way, my favorite album is the 97 one, the Merlin one, if we're talking about stickers. But what's yours? What's your favorite album? And then kind of what's the best sticker that you've got that you wouldn't sell for anything, Greg?
My prize, I mean, everything I collected from 79 throughout my childhood is prized. Even though most of it is dog-eared, chewed, pages falling out. That is not the point. The point is I was a child, so of course it's not pristine condition. If I was a 6-year-old thinking about putting it in a cellophane wrapper, then I'd be worried.
Yeah.
So Football 79, even though the pages have come off, it's full of sellotape. That is my all-time favorite, because that's what started it all off. And even now, I can remember collecting it. And one of the greatest parts of the Football 79 album is that they did silk denim type badges rather than the foils that became more common with Panini, and they would never repeat. Or they had done them in Swiss albums and for tournaments, but in terms of over here, we've never had them again. Now, Panini did say there was a potential that they could be brought back potentially for the next Premier League album. We shall see on that. But I would say those badges, not even just my own club's badge, those are the high point of manufacturing when it comes to stickers.
Is there one sticker from that album that you just love? So who's your favorite player?
It's not that I don't love it. It would be probably the one sticker that springs to mind will be the one that I didn't get, which is the St Mirren badge.
Really?
And I've never got it, and I never will get it because that album for me will always be synonymous with being one short. So it's in there. There is actually a Football 78, Football 85 collection and anthology coming out at the end of the month, which has the St Mirren badge in. So I having looked at the preview copy, I have gone to that one just to see what it looked like in the flesh, so to speak. But I will never stick it in that album. But in terms of favourite players, my favourite player is that famous dancer, Strictly Come Dancing star Tony Adams. So his stickers would be my favourite, and I've got loads of his cards, including Futera ones. He wasn't in Football 79, so
no.
From that one, it probably someone like Liam Brady would be my favourite in that in terms of players.
Hey, I just want to clarify for our international audience, Tony Adams is going to be appearing, or he is appearing.
He is, yeah, and doing very well.
He is. He's on it. Okay. I did see something online about that, I think. Or my mum told me. That was like, my mum actually told me. She said, I'm watching Strictly tonight. And she told me that Tony Adams was on there. So go on, Tony. Good luck, mate. Okay, so any advice before we wrap up, any advice for those people who are maybe thinking about collecting stickers for the first time this year? Greg, any tips of the trade?
Yeah, I think most importantly, it would be to enjoy it and not just see it as a way to make money, because by and large you might be disappointed with that, because it's a very volatile market, the cards and stickers hobby. But not only that, sport is volatile. So someone who might seem like a sure bet in 2022, by 2023, I mean, I think just look at who are the names being touted in 2021, and now fast forward a year, are they all still at the top of the tree? Probably not. Some of them are injured. Some of them are just completely vanished. And similar, I was looking at a World Soccer stars or players under 21 to watch one of the 1990s issues. We can obviously now see how well those players did, and I think out of 50, probably one or two really went on to be the players that they were tipped to be. So in that respect, try to collect it. Of course, people can make money and people will make money, but try to collect players that you actually like without thinking about, I might sell this on in the future. Think, I'm going to collect this and I'm going to look back at it in 20, 30 years. That's why the Futera cards, for instance, with Arsenal this season, are for an Arsenal fan worth getting, because you don't have to sell it in 10, 20 years. But if Arsenal do have a good season, or even if they don't, even if it all goes wrong from here, the first few months or the first few weeks have gone really well, and those games were memorable. And looking at the images from that cannot help but put a smile back on your face when you look back on them in the future. And that is a key thing. Look back at your collection, not with the thought of, oh, how much is this going to be worth? Look back and think, oh, I remember that kit, I remember that player, I remember collecting that, and see it as something to have enjoyed and to have been worthwhile just for the point of collecting.
That's really good advice. Really nice advice. I think if you do that and you approach, it's the same on cards as well. You approach it in that spirit, you can't really go wrong. Buy what you like. It's actually advice that I've had before on the podcast from other, influencers in the space, or people who are heavily involved on the card side of things, and it's really, really nice advice, Greg. I think you mentioned Futera there and the stuff that we're doing now, contemporary Futera cards. I have 2 unopened packs of this is when we had the Manchester United license from 2001 of stickers. Futera did do stickers at one point. What can you remember about Futera in the 90s, Greg?
Yeah, lots. As an Arsenal supporter, I collected the Arsenal specific sets in the late 90s, and it was during a good time for the club. So now that as I was saying, looking back on those, you've got stickers from a double season, cards from a double season rather, and how can you not look back at Dennis Bergkamp cards and Ian Wright cards and not have a smile on your face and look at the kits from that time. It's a fantastic set, and as are all of the clubs at that time. And I think it's a case of Futera were ahead of their time because people weren't interested in club specific collections as much at the time. It was the Merlin sticker album, or it was the Merlin card sets and the Topps card sets of all the clubs that people seem to be most interested in. But now people do want their own club specific, the Topps now, or the Panini ones in real time, and the Futera ones. People do just want to collect their clubs because there's so many out there, and it is a hobby in itself. You don't have to worry quite so much about collecting all the players from the other clubs now, and clearly lots of people don't. But I think probably what's more interesting for me in terms of the Futera output, and I didn't collect it at the time because it wasn't available, I've collected it subsequently, are the cricket card sets that were available in Australia. So I've got I think I've got all of the base card sets from the 90s Futera cards that were released in Australia, and as with the Arsenal ones from that period, they're amazing to look back on. Look at the coloured clothing from the 92 World Cup, Cricket World Cup, which is my favourite World Cup ever because it's the first to have colour clothing. So you've got cards of the England team that reached the final, and then the following years you've got early Shane Warne cards, and of all the other great Australians at the time, you've got the West Indies players when they toured over there, the Pakistani players. And as I say, you look back on it and it's a who's who. And for someone who grew up in America, in England, who the only cricket collections we had when I was growing up was one sticker album, World of Cricket Panini album in 1983, and that was it. Nothing else. So discovering that in Australia there's been a card set available, or a few stickers collections in the 80s, one a year since the 80s, was a bit of an eye-opener. I've tried to collect a lot of those since, and I did actually work as an advisor for an Australian company that did the cricket cards called Tap and Play, bringing out an England cricket card set in 2018, which was available over here, and that was a great experience trying to get cricket cards into this country. Now Topps do the 100 cards, and the fact that Formula One has grown as much as it is, I think if Formula One can do it, then cricket can do it, and it's just a case of how it's done. Now I think there would be a demand for Legends cards. So the same as you do with the England footballers, if you did it with England cricketers, and Australia have Legends cards, so you can get signed Alan Border cards or patches and Steve Waugh and all the Ricky Ponting, all the top players, you can get those. But you can't get anything for England players. You can't get anything for India players, and Indians' love of cricket is incredible. Same with Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and then you've got New Zealand and South Africa, and you've got all these countries that love cricket, and they just aren't catered for. I think the fact that there were a few IPL card sets, the IPL is one of the biggest sporting events in the world in terms of how much advertising revenue it generates and how many people watch it. It's absolutely massive. The fact that there is now no card set for the IPL is just astonishing when you look at what there is card and sticker sets. So that's one of my bugbears. I think, and I've actually put my money where my mouth and helped try and launched a card set over here. I think something has to happen with cricket in the future.
Very interesting. Lots for us to ponder there here at Futera. I'm sure that the people that make decisions here will enjoy that little segment, and maybe.
Well, I'll buy them anyway.
Well, there you go. Then we've got one customer, Gwen. So if you are watching this, then we can sell them to Greg. But no, Greg, listen. Thank you for your time, mate. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. You're an author. You write books. Very very lovely books. Do you want to tell us a little bit about them and where people can find you and read your stuff?
Yeah, my first book on football stickers was Stuck on You, the rise and fall and rise of Panini stickers. So that was 2015. Then became an ITV documentary in 2017, and that's available on YouTube as well. It does get taken off sometimes. Then 2021, Panini football stickers, the official celebration, which is our 60th anniversary special, which covers all the World Cups, Euros, and the domestic football league albums from the 60 years, UK domestic ones. And coming out at the end of October, there's I wrote the foreword, so I didn't write it because there was nothing to write in it, because it's just an anthology. But it's Panini UK football sticker collections 1978 to 1985. So it's the complete works. So almost 600 pages. Every single page of every single Panini Football UK sticker album, 78 to 85. You need a big, sturdy coffee table for that one, but that's out at the end of October.
I bet. Well, look forward to that, Greg, and hopefully people will go along and purchase that. Do let me know when it's out. And thank you for coming on to Soccer Cards and Chill. I'll see you again next time, Greg.
Thank you.